Hello and welcome to another Etch Play video. I'm Dan and today I am joined by Ben. Ben, how are we doing?
I'm good, thank you, Dan. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good. Now, Ben, I am not a recruiter. Are you?
I'm not. I'm not a recruiter.
But it would seem that we spend a lot of our time talking about something in the world of video games. Would that be recruitment of late?
It is recruitment. Recruitment seems to come up a lot with probably about almost 100% of people that we work with, I would say.
Yes, it's definitely a huge kind of conversation at the moment. I think with the rate of growth of the industry and attention and investment, it just seems to be front of mind for everyone. How prolific do you think the growth demands for game studios are at the minute?
I think it's huge. I think we see from the numbers that get published by various bodies, you can include like the industry just grows and grows and grows in value, and that's because more people are playing games, which stimulates more demand for making games, which means more people need to make games. So there's some numbers I've got from Games Job Lives. They do a report every month, which kind of, for the UK, reports on the number of jobs currently available. And according to their data, of the 2,284 games companies in the UK, 183 of them are currently recruiting, and that equates to 2,554 roles. So there's a lot of jobs to be filled. And what also was interesting is of the jobs that were being advertised last month, 278 got filled, but this month, 376 new jobs have been posted. So more jobs are becoming available quicker than they're getting filled, which I think that alone answers the question, how prolific is demand for games jobs at the moment? It's massive.
It's absolutely staggering.
Hard to sustain.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that's why I thought let's just share some thoughts on it, because we never set out to position ourselves as video game recruiters, and that's not what we do. But we do a lot of work with game studio websites, game studio sort of market positioning and strategy, and just the number one conversation at the moment is we want to attract more talent. We need to grow. We need to find better people, more people. So I thought we'd have a little chat and share some of the insights that we've got recently. So when it comes to video game recruitment, I think kind of the first thing people do is like, we need to hire, let's get the jobs somewhere, and let's tell people about the opportunities we've got. But I think what's easily overlooked and a very simple first step to do is go, okay, let's we understand we've got a requirement. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the potential candidates. Like what is the experience going to be like for people looking for jobs, or even people not looking for jobs? Because as you've just identified, there are more opportunities than there are people. So to some extent, we've also got a job of perhaps persuading people who maybe aren't fulfilling their potential in their current role. What's the messaging that we can do to attract them? So focus on the user or the candidate or the potential job seeker would be my first sort of, I guess, point that we would encourage people to think about. Now, when doing that, what do you think are some of the most important factors that we're seeing with regards to kind of this persona that we're saying, somebody who is either looking for or potentially looking for a job? What do they want to see?
I think it comes down now more to more than just this is the job title that I want to have. That's the job I want. I that's obviously important, but I don't think that's the driving factor anymore. I think what candidates want to see and potential recruits want to see is they want to see, as you alluded to, it's like what is it like to actually work there, and not just what's it like to do this job in this company. It's okay, what are the people like? What's the teams like? What happens outside of the work? Because that is a massive factor for people. Like, we spend so much time at work. It's important that we do it with people that we like, people that we share values with, and people that we socialize with. A lot of the time, you spend more time with the people you work with than probably your family, just because of the way the working world is. So that it's really important for candidates to feel like they're going to be at home in the company, feel welcomed, match up with the people that are there, and kind of not just be a cog in a wheel. Some people might want to do that, just go to work, get it done, go home. But a lot of people don't want to do that, and they want to have autonomy, and they want to feel like they're contributing in a meaningful way and being able to drive the way a game is going and a studio is going. So I think they're definitely looking for those kind of things.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's such a high passion industry. People definitely aren't just kind of showing up to get the paycheck, and they want to feel that whole employment experience is going to live up to the expectations that we set a high bar as an industry in terms of entertainment and experiences that we offer, and the working experience definitely needs to live up to that as well. Another thing that we see kind of quite dramatically obvious, and it isn't easy and it isn't something every workplace can offer, but flexibility in terms of remote working, flexible hours, those are, I mean, as you highlighted with those stats earlier, kind of it is a candidate's market at the moment, and whilst it's not for everyone, those are highly desirable positions, so it's definitely worth studios really thinking about what can they do to enable more flexible working, accommodate remote or semi-remote even, but fully remote roles are so much easier to fill at the moment, would seem to be what the numbers are telling us. And I think as well, people want to grow, people want to learn, and through your communications, through your website and your presence on sort of social platforms, highlighting kind of the pathways and the expertise that you're going to be working alongside. Who am I going to get to work with is key, and there's lots of lessons that people want to get from their workplace. So yeah, definitely thinking about that employee experience, and really how do we communicate that, I think is really, really clear.
Yeah, definitely. As you alluded to, I think candidates have never been in a stronger position, I would say. I think it's no longer a case of the candidate has to sell themselves to the employer. Obviously, there's a level of that. You can't just rock up and you're going to get given a job because you turned up. But the employer is now having to sell themselves to the potential recruit, because the recruit has so much choice. And now with flexible working and remote working, like if you're not offering that, there's plenty of places that are, and candidates will go to the places that better suit them. And I think as well with the remote, kind of we've highlighted, there's more jobs that can be filled. That means that you potentially need to look outside of the UK for hires. And if you open up to being a remote company that allows remote working, you open up the talent pool to outside of the UK as well, which a lot of studios will need to do, because it's hard to fill these roles because there's so many of them. And we only have so many people in the industry in the UK at the moment. So that's definitely something that needs to be considered.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting point, because with the kind of the potential for this global workforce, with a strictly commercial mindset, people are thinking like, oh, actually, yeah, we can offer our opportunities to workers further afield, maybe people from less financially stable countries, and get better value, which is true to an extent. But what's also interesting and a good thing is kind of the leveling. Even people who are in typically lower paid regions are now getting so many opportunities for remote work, because it's all of a sudden you're competing on a global scale as well. You're not just competing regionally. So really thinking about what that package looks like and how you can make it work best for anyone wherever they are. And yeah, I wouldn't suggest viewing it as just a money saving opportunity, but really you're going to get a more diverse workforce. You're going to get new ideas, and from people with new experiences, it can actually be a real benefit to embrace that potential global workforce. So Ben, we obviously take a heavy kind of responsibility for the digital presence. That's kind of what we do. We look at the strategy and look at the implementation possibilities for websites and marketing campaigns and things like that. Any thoughts on how a game studio or a games business can best leverage digital to support this recruitment challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's multiple fronts that a game studio needs to be thinking about for the journey that a potential recruit will take, from thinking they want to change jobs, or maybe not even think about wanting to change jobs, to kind of spark that thought into actually making the application. Because so many companies are now hiring, it can't just be, I'm going to advertise a job and I'm going to fill it, because as we've highlighted, 183 studios are currently advertising jobs, trying to hire 2,500 people. So the first thing you need to do is you need to build up your studio and build up the brand, so that people know who you are and understand who you are. And that doesn't necessarily mean mean you need to be the biggest AAA studio in the world, making the biggest game in the world. But you need to make sure that when people do see your job and they look into you, they understand who you are. And it's not just, oh, we're making this game, we're hiring for this role. It's kind of all the things we've talked about previously. Like, you know, you need to show your culture, and you need to show what the benefits are, and you need to show that when you join this studio, this is what it's all about and this is what you get. So I think before you even start thinking about advertising the job, you need to be thinking about, what does my presence look like online that people can get a taste for who we are. So absolutely. I think that's one part of it.
That digital footprint that you have, it's easy to just start with your homepage and go, well, this is our homepage and we're recruiting and this is our culture. But you think about this traditional journey that we're all used to now, is you don't tend to, the homepage experience, whilst important, it's not always going to be the initial touch point for a potential candidate. So yeah, it's really worth thinking about, what is the first thing they're going to see? Is it going to be a piece on social media? Is it going to be a piece of news? Is it going to be a mention from a friend? And where are they going to come in? Are they going to come in at the job spec level? Are they going to come in at the sort of the about us? Or are they going to be coming in via interest in the actual title itself? And yeah, cater for the user journey from wherever it starts. Don't just think homepage, job. And there's a lot more nuance to it than that.
Definitely, it's utilising the platforms that exist to their greatest potential. If you have an Instagram account, I'm not saying you need to, but if you have one, like, just think about the content you're putting on there about the studio. Like, that shouldn't be a wall of job ads. It should be little bits of, this is what we're working on. Here's a little snippet from a trailer. Here's a piece of artwork. Here's something not related to work at all. Here's something that our employees were doing, not even to do with work. Like, just so that people can start to build up that picture. LinkedIn, you might be a little bit more focused on these are the jobs, but LinkedIn is where people live now, especially in professional industries, which the games industry is. Like, it doesn't have to be professional all the time. You can filter in that more social and lifestyle side onto that platform.
This is games, they're fun, aren't they?
Exactly. So it's just kind of making sure that you're doing the right things on the right platforms. And ultimately, what we need to do as game studios is understand that journey as well, so that we can adapt what we're doing. So it helps to have a central place to send people on that journey once they've kind of made a decision that they want to look into a little bit more. So the website is a great place to do that, because you have a lot of control over, obviously, the content that goes on there, keeping it up to date, but also you get a lot of control over the data that you can get out of it, obviously following GDPR rules and everything. But you can get so much data out of your website that you might not even realize, and you're potentially missing a trick if you're not collecting that. So you can understand where people come from to land on the website to look. You can understand what they're looking at on your website, and then if you get the right tracking in place on your jobs integration, you can understand the jobs that they're looking at, how long they're looking at them for, did they look at the application form? If they looked at the application form, did they apply? If they didn't, maybe you've got a problem. If a lot of people are looking at a specific job, they're opening it, reading it, but nobody's applying, is that job got the wrong job title on it? Is there something wrong with the description? You can understand all that information just by getting the right tracking onto your website, and you can just improve so much more. And you need to do that, and you need to improve because the competition is so high. If you've had 300 people look at your job and nobody applied, those 300 people have gone and they've looked at another job and they've probably applied somewhere else. And just taking that learning, you can adapt it so the next person that comes won't leave and they will apply.
Absolutely, and that's something we've spent a lot of time doing, putting in place these considered sort of pipelines. So yeah, which jobs are we presenting and servicing? Which jobs are getting clicked on? Which jobs, like say, are being viewed and applied for? And actually reviewing that data as well. We put a lot of effort into creating dashboards and actually spending the time to look at that and draw out those insights. Because yeah, the behaviours are there and they're telling you something. Whereas if you've just got your job listing and you post it through some job tool and you bounce users out of the website over to the job platform, and then you don't actually sort of interrogate that experience, then yeah, like you say, you're absolutely missing a trick there. So to I guess to sum up, I think kind of the biggest consideration that gets overlooked, and one of the most powerful influences that people have is actually your existing team. We've seen some great successes of people who've done this well, and it's always something that's poorly considered. And in the games industry, there's a lot of kind of modest and introverted characters, so people don't like to necessarily parade around and kind of broadcast the opportunities at their workplace. But also there are people that do enjoy that, and you as a game studio can put a lot of meaning towards that, both for attracting attention of people that are looking for work, and also celebrating your team, faming your team, putting them on the pedestal and saying this person is doing an amazing job, and yes, you could get to work with them. And any other thoughts on kind of leveraging your existing team and celebrating your team for the recruitment process?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely something that studios should look to be doing. Obviously, you need to make sure the people that you're putting out publicly are happy with it. And in a lot of cases, they will be. So just make sure you do that. But as you said, your biggest advocates are your employees. Because it's one thing, me as the studio saying, hey, it's great to work here. We've got a great culture. We do all these things. Of course, I'm going to say that. It's my studio. I'm the studio. If you have your employees going out and they're saying it, it just is that extra level of like authenticity, because the employees have no reason to say it if they don't feel it. You know, their employee can't make them say it. If they are, they're probably going to leave anyway because that isn't a good culture. So if you're out there and you see someone working at a studio and like, oh, we've just done this, it's amazing, it's awesome to work here. Like, even if they're not promoting a job, they're just talking about the studio and what they're doing, and they're passionate about it. In people's heads, light bulbs go off and go, oh, that's a place I possibly want to be. I'm going to look into it more. So I don't think you can overlook the value of having your employees be your advocates. And if you are fostering that good culture that you are selling, like, you won't even need to ask. Like, it will just happen naturally. When people are infused, they want to talk about being infused, and you know, that's the greatest selling tool I think you can have for your studio that you don't have to ask for, and will just if you're doing everything right or a lot of things right, that will come naturally, and it's so influential in that process, especially when competition is so high.
Absolutely, and it's a win-win because they also want to work with other great talent. So if they can help attract that and bring that into the studio, then yeah, it absolutely is of benefit to them. So yeah, empowering your team to go and celebrate the studio, celebrate themselves, share their achievements, share their work, and obviously there's a lot of kind of NDA and restrictions and things like that, but wherever possible, get them. And you see it more and more recently, people sharing things on ArtStation, sharing their show reels, sharing their contributions to big projects. And yeah, as much as possible, you should fight to be able to do that, not to restrict that. You know, restricting that kind of openness is a very old school mentality. And now, yeah, if people have done good work, let them share it, let them own it, and let them show the wider world that, okay, this is the caliber of work we're doing, and I'm trusted and empowered to be able to talk about this. And that'll be a huge magnet to new talent. And yeah, you can incentivize it and reward and recognize people for doing this. And if they're not doing it or they're not prepared to, then you need to ask yourself why. Why are they not? Because they're a candidate for somebody else if they're of that mindset. And yes, celebrating your people is not only a great attraction strategy, it's also a great retention strategy because they feel seen and they feel respected. Okay, well, I think that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate your input on this. And yeah, if anybody has any thoughts or comments or contributions, then please do get in touch. We'd love chatting about this. As we said, it's not something we set out to do, but it's something we find a really interesting part of the industry. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Cheers.